Book of Job is one of the most profound and unsettling works of wisdom literature in the Hebrew Bible. It wrestles with the problem of innocent suffering, the limits of human understanding, and the nature of divine justice. Rather than offering simple answers, the book unfolds as a dramatic and philosophical exploration of faith under extreme trial, challenging conventional assumptions about morality, reward, and punishment. The story opens by presenting Job as a man of exceptional righteousness, blameless, upright, and deeply devoted to God. He is prosperous, respected, and surrounded by a loving family. In the heavenly court, however, a challenger, often called the accuser or the Satan, questions whether Job's faith is genuine or merely the result of his good fortune. With God's permission, Job is subjected to catastrophic losses. His wealth is destroyed, his children die, and eventually his body is afflicted with painful disease. Stripped of everything but his life, Job sits in ashes, grieving and bewildered, yet initially refusing to curse God. As the narrative shifts from prose to poetry, the heart of the book unfolds in a series of intense dialogues. Job's three friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, come to comfort him, but their consolation quickly turns into accusation. They insist on a traditional moral framework. God is just, therefore suffering must be punishment for sin. If Job is suffering, they argue, he must have done something wrong and should repent. Job vehemently rejects this reasoning. He maintains his innocence and challenges the idea that divine justice can be reduced to a simple system of cause and effect. His speeches are raw, anguished, and bold, oscillating between despair, protest, and an unyielding desire to confront God directly. Job's lament reaches its peak as he cries out against what seems like a silent and overwhelming universe. He longs for an explanation, a mediator, or at least a hearing before God. Yet even in his anguish, Job refuses to abandon his integrity. He does not deny God's existence or power. Rather, he challenges God's governance as incomprehensible and, from his perspective, unjust. This tension, faith that argues rather than submits blindly, gives the book much of its enduring power. A younger figure, Elihu, then enters the debate, offering a different perspective. He criticizes both Job and the older friends, suggesting that suffering may serve as discipline or instruction rather than punishment. While Elihu's speeches introduce nuance, they still fall short of resolving Job's fundamental question: why do the righteous suffer at all? The climax of the book comes when God finally responds, not with a direct explanation, but with a series of awe-inspiring questions spoken out of the whirlwind. God points to the vastness, complexity, and mystery of creation, the foundations of the earth, the movements of the stars, the untamable forces of nature, and creatures beyond human control. The message is not that Job is insignificant, but that reality is far larger and more intricate than human moral accounting can grasp. Job is confronted not with answers, but with perspective. In response, Job humbles himself, not because he has been proven wicked, but because he recognizes the limits of human understanding. He acknowledges that he spoke of things too wonderful for him to know. Crucially, God then rebukes Job's friends, declaring that they did not speak rightly about him as Job did. Job's honesty, protest, and refusal to accept false consolation are vindicated. His fortunes are restored, his health renewed, and his life rebuilt, not as a reward for submission, but as a gracious act beyond human calculation. Ultimately, the book of Job teaches that suffering is not always a consequence of personal guilt, that moral formulas cannot contain the mystery of existence, and that genuine faith may include questioning, lament, and protest. It invites readers into humility before the unknown, reverence before the complexity of creation, and a deeper, more mature trust that does not depend on easy answers.